Good evening. Sorry for my tardiness in turning up late. I'm currently coaching the youth team at Perth Glory, so we had training tonight, which I managed to slip out and get myself here. Again, thank you for having me. For those of you that don't know me, and we're not all soccer fans over here, but I moved to England when I was 16. I signed a contract with Middlesbrough in the Premier League. And returned home 24 years later. I, along the way, managed to progress and go from youth team to first team, ultimately getting a move to my dream club, which was Liverpool, spending 5 years there, and yeah, it was the best and worst time of my life. With the beauty of signing for my boyhood club, it also came at a time where my son was diagnosed with leukemia. Just before that move, I was at the World Cup with Australia with the Socceroos. We were in South Africa about 5 days out from the start of the World Cup, and I received a phone call from my son's mum to say that he'd had a blood test and he'd been diagnosed. That was July 2010. And after 18 months, he passed away on the 18th of November, which happens to be today, a week after his 6th birthday. Now, in that time, obviously I'd had ups and downs. I left the World Cup obviously to go and be with him during his treatment. And at the same time had a phone call, was I interested in moving to Liverpool? Which I can't tell you how difficult that was, because to be in the headspace that I was in at the time, a career move didn't really make much sense to me. So ultimately it was very difficult, but at the time the treatment seemed to be going okay. So I made the choice, I need to benefit my career and move up in the world and take that chance and hope that everything was going to be okay. Ultimately it wasn't. And listening to the guys here, listening to Greg, I was uneducated in the mental health space. For me, my life was perfect. I was living my dream. Everything that I'd dreamt of from maybe 5 or 6 years old had come true. And I hit a point where my life fell apart. Did I know how to cope? Did I understand I needed to talk to people? No. And I think a lot of us will be in that position. We've all lost someone, I'm sure. And like I said, I was uneducated. I didn't kind of have that feeling of wanting to go and talk to someone. I didn't have necessarily the tools to deal with it either. But I'm grateful that my wife was there with me. It wasn't her son, it was from a previous relationship, so for her also very difficult to be in that situation. But she was the person that I leant on. Now, if I didn't have her, and I didn't have someone to talk to, someone that I could be vulnerable with, someone that I could speak to and express my feelings, where would I be? And to be honest, I've been down in some dark places, and I'm grateful that I had her. I think the charities that are going on and the opportunities for anyone that, God forbid this happens to be able to go and speak to someone and be given the tools to try and cope is fantastic. So I applaud Greg for what he's doing. It's fantastic that people have got something and have an opportunity to go and talk. Because like I said, I might have been in England, I might have been in the Premier League, in these big clubs with all of this stuff, but I didn't have that surrounding. And yeah, it took a long time. I ultimately got thrown, I took a little break from playing soccer. A couple of months where the club were actually quite good to me and said take as much time as you need, but I ultimately got thrown back in about 6 months later, and I had that feeling of, do I actually want this? Do I want to continue? And why do I want to continue? What's the point? You know, my son had gone. But my wife now was pregnant, and that was my driving force. You know, I still had family. My parents, you know, all of this sort of stuff came into my head, and I made that decision consciously that, no, that's it, I'm going to push on, and I want to make him proud, and also, you know, continue to try and achieve what I set out to, and kind of take him and his name with me. So yeah, that's my story. I think I was at Liverpool 2010, so a year into that, it all happened. I stayed there until 2015 and continued my career up until 2 years ago, where I retired at Perth Glory. So, like I said, I'm grateful that I got the opportunities that I had, but I wish I had that sort of support system around, and maybe more of it. I think it hadn't really occurred at that time where it was as common and as many people available. And I try and be that person now for the people around me. And like I said, I'm grateful that there's so many more charities and organisations which are offering that support, and hopefully people going forward will benefit from this, and like I said, be given the tools to cope with these difficult circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Up close and personal, and I'm grateful. Any questions from the panel?